All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to the Explainer. If you've been staring at the massive, frankly overwhelming landscape of graphic design and thinking, where on earth do I even start? Well, you're exactly where you need to be. With over 20 different apps in the Adobe Creative Cloud alone, not to mention heavyweights like Figma and Canva, it is so easy to feel totally paralyzed by choice. Like, which tool does what and which one should you actually spend your time mastering first? Well, think of this explainer as your official study guide. We're going to strip away all that confusing marketing jargon and give you a clear, actionable roadmap to absolutely crush it.
So like any good study session, we need a quick syllabus. Here's our battle plan. First, we'll officially kick things off with Design 101. Then we'll break down a core concept you simply have to know, pixels versus vectors. After that, we'll decode the industry standard tools, map out your beginner mastery sequence, and finally, wrap the whole thing up with a review and some key takeaways.
All right, moving right along to Section 1. Welcome to Design 101, where we conquer that software overwhelm.
Which brings us to Section 2, Core Concepts. It's time to tackle pixels versus vectors.
Listen, before you even think about double-clicking a software icon, you absolutely must understand the two fundamental worlds of digital design. Seriously, jumping into the wrong format is a classic beginner mistake, and it will cost you hours of frustration. So, grab your notes, because here is your first essential exam definition: raster graphics. Basically, these are digital images made up of thousands of tiny individual squares called pixels. Just think of the photos you take on your smartphone. They look amazing at their normal size, right? But try zooming way, way in. Suddenly they lose quality, getting all blurry and blocky. That's because they are resolution dependent. They're bound by a strict number of pixels per inch, or PPI. That is just the inherent limitation of the raster world.
Okay, now for your second definition, vector graphics. Instead of relying on pixels, vectors are essentially digital artwork created using mathematical equations, specifically things called Bezier curves. I know, math, right? But this math gives them an absolute superpower: infinite scalability. Literally, you could design a tiny icon for a mobile app and then scale that exact same file up to fit a massive building-sized street billboard, and it will remain perfectly crisp and sharp. No blurring, no pixelation, just perfect, crystal clear clarity.
I really want you to burn this side-by-side concept into your memory. Raster gets blurry when you stretch it. Vector stays perfectly crisp no matter what you do to it. So why is this going to be on the test? Well, imagine a client asks you for a logo for a massive billboard, and you build it in a raster format. You are going to print a very blurry, very expensive disaster. Understanding this one fundamental difference dictates your entire software choice moving forward.
Let's roll into Section 3, the industry standard tools. Time to decode the big three. Now we're going to map those core concepts we just learned directly to the software that pretty much every modern graphic designer needs in their toolkit. Honestly, treat this like your ultimate exam cheat sheet. First up, Adobe Illustrator, the king of vectors. If you're building logos, custom typography, or brand identities, this is your home. Next is Adobe Photoshop, the master of raster. If you're manipulating photos, doing digital painting, or retouching, absolutely nothing out there beats it. And finally, Figma, the absolute future of digital layouts. If you want to design mobile apps, websites, or user interfaces, Figma is the undisputed industry leader right now.
That takes us to Section 4, the beginner tool mastery sequence. Where exactly do you start? Okay, we've just looked at 3 massive, incredibly powerful programs. Now, do you need to learn all 3 of these at the exact same time? Absolutely not, no way. Trying to juggle all of them at once is a guaranteed recipe for total burnout. Instead, here is your logical, action-oriented sequence. Step 1, start with Adobe Illustrator. Step 2, master basic geometric shapes and the color panels. Step 3, learn the pen tool to build complex compositions. You see, by starting in the vector world first, you naturally build a rock-solid foundation for visual structure. You'll learn how shapes interact, how negative space works, and how colors blend, all before you ever have to stress about complex layer masks or raster photo effects. And finally, Section 5, final review and takeaways. Here is your exam cheat sheet.
We've covered a ton of ground today, so let's lock it all in. Here are your golden rules for the test. Rule number 1, memorize the core difference. Raster is pixels, think photos. Vector is math, think logos. Rule number 2, always match your specific tool to your intended format. Need a scalable logo? That's Illustrator. Editing a photo? Photoshop. Designing a cool new app? Figma all the way.
Rule number 3, avoid overwhelm. Seriously, do not try to learn everything at once. And rule number 4, build that foundation by starting with Adobe Illustrator first. It's going to teach you the structural rules of design better than anything else out there.
The biggest takeaway here is that design software can look incredibly intimidating at first glance. But once you break it down step by step into a logical sequence, it becomes so exciting. You've got the fundamental knowledge now. You understand the formats, and you know exactly which tool to open up first. So, armed with your ultimate beginner roadmap, what will your very first design project be? Let that spark your curiosity, open up the softwares, and get out there and start creating.